Smoke Some Podcast. It's the visionary mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. We got another great episode for y'all at Smoke Some Podcast, man. We got a guy on here, man, who is a very great performer, very great DJ, very great person. He is a man of integrity, a man of many different things. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself.
Yo, thank you so much. I'm Big Sherm. Nice to meet y'all, though, forever.
For sure, man. So, tell me, man, how does it feel being a DJ and controlling the crowd and knowing what the crowd wants and them anticipating you to play one thing and then you just change the vibe in a whole different way?
That's really fun. It's nice. It's like important. I think it's like actually like kind of like a spiritual, you control the vibe of the crowd. You can play something so bad that it ruins people's nights almost and they leave, so it's sacred in that way. But there's definitely not a feeling like it. It's definitely, invigorating. You feel alive. It feels good when you're done. And for me, doing creative stuff is a way for me to, it's an outlet, a way to get shit off my chest.
Yeah.
And so, that's that. And you see it direct reaction.
For sure. So I want to go back into your background, like the beginning. So, where are you from? Where did you grow up, and how did you develop this very sound, intelligence, and also the love for music?
I'm from Lansing, Michigan. That's where I stay too. Shout out to Detroit. Thank you again for having me. I'm from Lansing. I've always kind of done my own thing, but I've done music since I was super young, teenager, and even, less than that even. Just making stuff and just always being interested in it and not thinking about necessarily it being big or anything, but just wanting to do it and being that's cool. I like doing that stuff. And so nowadays, eventually, it was just sticking with what I feel and what's authentic to me, because I've tried, all sorts of different things. But now in my path, being able to look back at that and be this is what I vibe with, and there's a market for that, and there are other people that feel that, and you don't have to do something that's not you.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah.
So, what was that first song? What was that first musical moment that made you think, but made you know that you wanted to do this?
I remember mixing music and mashing up beats and MTV Music Generator and all that stuff. At some point I started just writing raps and freestyling and making beats just as a form of an expression. But I started a group with a couple kids when I was younger, and we were just having fun, but we were in a nice studio actually with access to that, and being oh, this is we can really do this, and our level or my level of passion, wanting to do it and understanding, is enough to be okay, this is a possibility, right?
So, was it somebody in your family pushing you towards music, or your ingenuity, or was it just something that you find within yourself that made you think, this is my creativity?
It's definitely something I found myself. I had so many inspirations and people along the way, that helped direct that and lead that and, showed me cool stuff, when I was young. But it was always just kind of a desire, seeing it or someone doing it and being that's really cool. Or as a kid too, being how do they do that? That's the coolest thing in the world. They must be, geniuses or something like that. And, just really wanting to go that route. I mean, I kept doing it myself, at all odds, quitting, coming back,
Yeah.
But it's just something that I need to do, because I feel almost pent up if I don't do it. I need to do it, because I always feel better when I drop an album, it's a weight off my shoulders, truly, I've realized after all this time, right?
Yeah. So, I'm in my 30s, you in your 30s? Yep. So we kind of grew up in the same era. What was your top artist, or what was your genres of music that just captured you in the know?
I definitely always had a love for electronic music. I went to Movement when it was Demph, really young, and I was always interested in that. But I did fall in love with hip hop and breakdancing and DJing and all that stuff, and so that was always really inspiring. My older brother, he was breakdancing and knew, put me on to Jurassic 5 and real hip hop, and I like metal and stuff too, a lot of punk stuff.
Me too.
Really like those. I don't know, just all those were the only genres that mattered to me, a little bit,
the fusion of everything.
Yeah, and I love jazz and stuff too, but yeah, a lot of metal, electronic, and hip hop and punk, and just I don't know, whatever felt right.
What were some of those specific songs though captures your moment or a certain artist out of those different genres? You said metal, you said jazz, rap. Pretty sure some R&B in there too. So
I always metal. I liked like Black Dahlia Murder, punk. I liked Dead Kennedys and stuff like that.
yeah,
I remember I always was kind of back and forth with hip hop when I was really young because I was just hearing the radio stuff. But like I don't remember. I remember like Gorillaz in 2000 or hearing the Kanye Daft Punk joint. That was like wow, like they mixed these two things that I like and made something, and it's like on the radio and stuff like that where those things were really cool to see those blends and kind of like nerd out about them and being like, oh, I know where this is from, but that was
the
like the
samples
interesting,
and
but that's the culture, that's the love. Yeah.
yeah, because I love listening to music, and when I know there's a sample, trying to look at the sample, where I've even started to now try to collect vinyls. So I know us being in the same generation, vinyls was kind of like a prehistoric thing, and then now it's kind of full circling
Come back.
back, and we kind of grew up in the cassette, CD, different
That's
era. So
cassette CDs.
were you collecting vinyls back then? Were you crate digging? Like how deep into that at a young age were you doing this?
I got vinyl turntables in 2009 off Craigslist, and so I started learning vinyl. And then, like you're saying, like there weren't really many opportunities for me to play out unless I brought my gear
Right,
because
right.
it was people were more going digital and controllers and stuff like that. But I'm glad that I did that and learned that. Before that, I would try to like mix stuff on like just a mixer with no tables, or I was just talking to my girl that like. I had a Walkman MP3 CD player that had the radio on it too, but like the MP3 CD with the 300 songs or
Right.
whatever, you get the
Yeah.
names, like that was clutch. And again, shout out to my brother for, probably get his
Yeah,
old
shout out
stuff
to
or
him.
whatever. But, he showed me cool stuff. I was just saying everything I like is kind of stuff that he liked then, but like I'm the one doing it now,
Right.
know. So shout
So
out
did
to
your
all the
bro-
inspirations.
So did your brother push you towards that? Like as you just said, like how important is his influence in doing this? Help you?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it all the time because like it really like set the goal. You just show me cool stuff and stuff that he was interested in, and that's at the bottom line, baseline. That's all it was just him being like, "This is dope," showing this. So we were playing video games, and the internet was new, and and I was younger, a lot younger, but I'd hang out with him as his friends, and then probably annoy the crap out of him, but like just him showing me stuff, I think definitely set
The
a
tone.
huge foundation,
Yeah.
for a long time and today. And I always think like, you know, he likes, I don't know, his opinion and inspiration still lasts. But like I said, like I'm kind of the one who ended up doing that. He does other things, just like life coaching and stuff like that.
See, that always happens like that, and it's funny that you said that he become a life coach because indirectly he coached your life, and now he's doing it. So technically, he's responsible for what you have done, but just as equally, you're responsible for what he's done because had he not coached you in life in that specific aspect, he wouldn't have had the confidence to make that career.
Yeah, and definitely really dig at it, and just kind of we're all about being good and like whatever that's just doing cool stuff, and what's not cool and what's wrong and right kind of stuff. So that's all it was, and especially at the time back then, there was like breakdancing competitions. People were throwing out mats in the street and playing like whatever, like rock ham joints, and really b-boy and just being like a kid like that. So that's so cool, like, and so interesting, and just the culture especially was it used to be so thick in the air, like you didn't need a clap or a snare. So like yeah, I mean that whole time period is inspirational too. But definitely leaning back to my childhood in that period of time, like I was like 12, 14, I feel like I was really like figuring my what I liked, and
Yeah,
just
interesting.
keeping that with us the whole time, and remembering what that kid would love what I'm doing.
Right, for sure. So, like, when did you create your first opportunity? Like, River Boost, like, getting your set, playing for some friends, do family reunion? Like, how did you get your first opportunity when it came to DJ?
Specifically with DJing, I got a gig pretty quick after. There was a store called Replay in Lansing, and they sold like CDs and shirts and just all sorts of cool stuff. and I would just go in there, I think, all the time, you know, and the owner Ted gave me a gig there, and I played in like the storefront, like over by MSU, and like I surely wasn't that good at mixing. I had good tunes, or whatever, but that was really like the first time I played out, or like back at Neon Tuesdays in Lansing, I did sound for a lot of those, and it would start at like 9 or 10 or something. So I would just bring my stuff and set it up and just play in front of it. And like we were talking about, I have to lug my vinyl and stuff all up there, and I would just do it before the show. Put myself on, I guess.
Sure. So, how did you feel after that? Like, were you, how was your emotions after that first official set?
It's a good. I'm sure it was good. It was fun, exhilarating. I'm sure it was a somewhat frustrating experience, trying to mix these records together and having like a couple months of experience. It's like I can do it now well because I have that much, right? But back then, I know there was like I definitely ran out to the car and I was like, I gotta hit this bowl, like smoke a little bit. Like I was like, whoa, like but. I guess obviously, like I wanted to do it again. I'll just play at home.
So, pun intended, but infusing that cannabis with the DJ, how did that, like, how did the plant, the flower, ease that stress from once before the set, completely set?
Yeah, in particular with that one, I would say need it, but it felt like a way for me to get in the zone, really pay attention to the music. Still to this day, like I try to, if I can, smoke during the set. Maybe not the whole time, but have it available. It kind of like resets, and you kind of get back into it and feel it, and it's definitely been a huge part of my life in general, but then tied with the music, I listen to like DJ Screw and stuff. And,
Okay.
there's like a mode, and it just kind of gets you in the zone.
So you were
gets your
very
focus
immersed
in it.
into the culture. You was looking to, you was looking up to the pioneers of that, like.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to people online. They were rolling the blunts with the clear wraps and stuff. I was like, before I ever smoked, I was like, that's the coolest shit in the world.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
he's like, you risking your life too, dog. Like, but it's always there. It was definitely the culture, though. Now you say that.
Talk about great. So talk about the Lansing culture, because I know Lansing is a boat place. I've been to Lansing plenty of times as a kid, and I was like, been to events there, mate. Talk about the culture of Lansing. Like, it's super underrated. It's a very dope place. So from your perspective, just talk about the Lansing culture.
It's been around for a long time. It is the capital city, and the more I think about it lately, it's like right in between. Because now you have Detroit, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, all. Their scenes probably have been there for a while, but everyone's kind of like getting their thing going, and Lansing's right in the middle of all of these places. And it's definitely an interesting culture, but there's a lot of love there, and we've been doing a lot of shows. I threw like 100 Thursday shows over the past 2 years there, and there's a culture. There's people that love it. There's people. Anytime people come to Lansing, they fall in love with the people there, and I think the community's still the same, but it's definitely a smaller place. But I think there's a lot of smaller subcultures, but it's a lot of people passing through. We have people from all over the world. We have refugees and all sorts of stuff. So it's really a diverse blend of people, like, no doubt.
What do you think is the best part of what is the best part of being from Lansing? What's the best part, Fashion?
Again, I'll kind of stick with the people. It's one of those places I fought with, leaving, coming back. I've left, moved to Chicago briefly, came back, thought, wanted to move all these other places, but it definitely is, my home, or like, I'm some place I'm familiar with, and I think it's important to, respect that. And one thing I'm actually trying to push lately is pushing the culture for being like, here's a Lansing sound, or here's a Lansing culture, here's what it is, talking about Screw stuff, Houston, biggest car place in the world, and there's a lot of stuff they've created, or the Bay or something. We have very distinct like styles and creations, and Detroit, of course, but Lansing, we have a lot of talent there that's just budding with talent, and OGs and new people, and it's really there, but it's kind of like it's like hiding a little bit. And so really trying to bring that out and be like, here's what's coming out here is something I'm working towards too.
So like, what could be done to unhide Lansing's culture?
I think the biggest thing I've realized or really noticed is just doing the events, having places where people can come together, especially events. All ages stuff too is nice. Not that I do a lot, of that. I play a lot of like later night, bars and stuff. But either having those options available, having a day where you can give back to the community and bring culture together in a way to show you're actually doing something more than just like partying or whatever people's preconceived notions of it are. But then also just having consistent events, reaching out. We were talking earlier, having stuff like a podcast or a platform where people can come up and showcase their stuff, because you don't know the people are there unless they have a place to show it. Even if to send it, they don't have to do it in person. But just finding, some people have to create outlets or platforms like for other people to express or at least get the attention.
Think Lansing has those platforms like podcast or like obviously they have events, I've been to events, but do they have like platforms like this or different things to kind of push artists and culture in Lansing?
There is actually a lot of different stuff going on. There's all sorts of events. There's like definitely a lot of like weed marijuana culture and dispensaries. So there are platforms like shout out Third Eye Craft that put me in bringing the music with with the other parts of the culture and community and the marijuana and stuff. And there's different tons of venues that are putting out stuff. Everyone's working on getting more there. There's some limitations, but we have festivals downtown. Shout out to Chicken Wing Festival. Shout out to all the other one. There's all the stuff. Yeah, that shit was cool. But there's a lot of different stuff going on all over. I don't know that there's like a central like here's everything that's going on in the city, but because you got to really like look for it a lot of times or be familiar with the location. But there it is really diverse. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Like
Sure, like that. So like talking about like the technical ability, because a lot of people feel like they could just be a DJ. You just get a computer, you play some music, people like it, they don't. But I get a sense of DJing is more than just playing music. It's more than just turntables. It's more than just mixing. It's culture, it's music, it's a vibe. It's distinctive in each DJ's perspective. So talk about the um, technical part of DJing, and then talk about your distinct way of displaying.
um nowadays too with the gear, gear is cheaper, computers are cheaper, you can just plug in, get started. I think that's cool, there's nothing wrong with that, but it takes away like some people see that and be like, oh, I'm DJing, but like you're saying, there's a lot more finer points to it. My realization of like how sacred being a DJ kind of is in that way, where like, yeah, you really can like play some terrible shit or, play amazing stuff and be really affecting people's moods on like any kind of level you're looking at it. And the intricacies of doing that and not just doing your stuff, but, whether you're trying to like make a name or just doing it for fun with the fan, so there's a lot of different levels to it. And a lot of it, I think, comes down to technical skills or what I think like the OGs, the things that they were like. I always want to get in their perspective. I'll smoke this one. I always try to get in their perspectives, what they think, how they look at things, and if you can be respected by what their standards are, the people like the forefathers, the people setting stuff up, so having technical ability, like yes, you can play track to track, but I'm glad I came from vinyl, learned how to beat match, did all that stuff. So digital was a lot easier once I learned the technical, like how to, get the tracks or whatever, exported. But I mean, there's definitely levels, and it's a lot of knowing what your goal is out of it. Everyone, I think when they're younger getting started, it's like I'm gonna be the Ibiza guy or whatever, like and that's not necessarily reality, and definitely not for everyone. And just knowing what you're trying to get out of it, and I won't say be realistic because you should have big dreams, but like, what are your goals? Because don't front like this is your goal, and you're like I'm the DJ guy, and you actually are gonna quit in a year and actually don't care or whatever. So it goes deep and deep. The more you want to pull from it, take out of it.
So how would you describe your style of DJing? Does it go into the event? or do you have a style to you to where you can your style can transcend any type of launch?
I think that what I do or what I feel, because I try to be authentic and play stuff that I like. I don't want to play stuff like I wouldn't ride around in the car to, or for example, or whatever. Not always or whatever, but stuff that I actually care about. I play all types of events. I do a lot of electronic events and kind of like creating my own style with that. But I play hip hop events, vinyl events. I was telling you, I played a barbecue and played Motown, and blues and stuff the whole time. Shout out to Linda, So they're way different styles, and this person thinks this is what I do, and this person thinks this is what I do, but keeping it authentic through it to what I want to hear and playing music I want to hear, it absolutely depends on the gig, but it's like building a brand and, showing what you do.
You think people appreciate the values bring to you and to the style of music would you like to find?
Yeah, I think so, and thankfully, I'm told that, and take everything with a grain of salt, perhaps. But you know, when people really, it was their favorite time, or they don't go out often, and that was the one time, and it was a good night for them, and they liked it. And there are everlasting stuff. I do hip hop too, and some of the things people have said just like randomly about something, like save my life, or it was the most extreme, but anything in between made my day better. Those are definitely the underrated wins. Not every response is going to be materialistic, but there are people that walk away sometimes be like, yo, I needed that, and just kind of remember that.
How does music help your mental health or things you might have been through while this time you've been through?
Yeah, it's definitely a good outlet for me. The more I've been doing shows the past couple of years, DJing and really leaning into that part of my career path or whatever. You know, wait, say what was your question again?
How has music and DJing helped you with your mental health, help you get through this?
Yeah, it definitely gives me a place to like put my, I don't want to say personality, but let my own stuff, like from rapping, like it's like writing a journal, but like DJing, it's like really getting that out. I feel better. I feel more myself. The more I was saying, the more I have been DJing, the more I feel myself, and I'm doing something I like to do, and getting, I'll say like recognition, but like it just having a place for that and existing and being able to see that. So it feels really important to me, if I don't do music stuff or creative stuff, it starts to get to me, and I need to be able to do that at least sometimes. I don't have to, I could quit, but still make stuff every once in a while just to get it off, journaling or something like that, painting.
For sure. It seems like it's a collective of creative things that you use to help you keep yourself together, to, maintain.
They're kind of all tools, and I do a lot of a variety of stuff, but I try to keep them in like a certain like whatever like realm, like I'll do like hip hop, I'll do electronic DJing too or whatever. It's like music related, and so I try to apply lessons from something into something else. Like it's very like Master Musashi Five Rings thing, but like from this, know this, and so I relate stuff from both rap experience to electronic to like other things that I do. It can pop up where I relate that to. So I'm learning in any capacity. Maybe I'll sell grills or something someday. Like, I don't know exactly where life will take me.
Yeah, for sure. I would respect it. Try to do it
A little bit though to what you want, like what feels good, what feels important.
Yeah, for sure. So like, talk about your different experiences within those different genres of music. Like, what's the difference between you were performing, you doing taking yourself EDM, hip hop, or R&D, or what are those different vibes like from your perspective? What is the people you're performing for? Um, how do you feel like they feel, or what do they tell you they feel, and like showing you from their different sets?
It's definitely important to like kind of understand the crowd, or like that's an important part of the DJ skill set. Like not everyone's going to play for every genre like I'm going to do. They want to just do one thing or two things or whatever, and that's fine too. But especially when I play a lot of different things, really being able to read the crowd or understand the venue or listen to the person before you and seeing how people react. Like, I'm not saying I think about it that deeply all the time, but you just kind of notice this stuff over time. And, being able to play, I don't like play just what the crowd wants all the time. Like, there's certain stuff like people play and it goes crazy. I'm like, that's just not for me, or that's not what I want to play here when I'm showcasing, because I try to do showcase, play a little bit of stuff they know though too, depending on the event. But again, just keeping it with like what I like actually, and like I said, over time, like just leaning into that's been realizing that has been huge. Like, but not be selfish about it either.
I feel like DJs are super underrated because not only are y'all like artists and performing, but y'all also like producers too. So mixing on the fly, you switching the music on the fly. Like this is basically producer, performer, audio engineer. Like there's a few different things in the run. Like, why do you feel like DJing is so underrated? And then what are some things about DJing from your perspective, from being a DJ, that people don't understand that you're doing the flower?
There's definitely like levels to it. Like I work with people with, that are more newer into the game, and I've learned from people that have way more experience, from me, and understanding like the levels of it and how, sorry again, what was that? It's hot out here.
So basically I was just saying, like, what are some things that in DJing do people don't?
Oh, the underrated aspects. I mean, yeah, you definitely, you got to work with the crowd. I mean, there's all sorts of different things where people coming up to you if you're like in an accessible area, people coming up and demanding songs or, talking shit. There's people that love it. There's DJs out there that are sitting there judging you, or people that aren't DJs judging you about it. You definitely got to like work with the crowd. You want them to feel good. I see a lot of the older cats saying, you're trying to create a positive vibe or a fun vibe. You're not like, I like some heavy grungy shit, but in a realm of feeling good. I don't want to be like pissed off, at the club, at a party, at a place where dancing's supposed to happen, So there is so many levels, but song selection, I mean, really having your own style. Like, I mean, you can start out and everyone can play like the top 40 subgenre hits or whatever, but you're going to hear those and that's not going to set you apart. And, just really digging and finding and creating your sound with the music you're selecting, because there are some things like, maybe people like this, but like, I really am not listening to that, or whatever. And so just knowing what, where your limits are, but like really, really digging in the crates and coming up with something and putting yourself out there and putting stuff out. Like, I have like 40 plus, hip hop albums, but I could have not put any of those out for being like, this isn't good enough or whatever, but I chose to just, share the whole progress, and it is what it is. And looking back, a lot of those are like points in times you remember, so DJing incorporates a lot of that stuff because you are creating something new and capitalizing on energy a lot of times, or vibes, or how you feel. Like, the more you feel in it, the better it's going to be.
What would you say is the biggest difference between when you first started DJing versus now, like in the scene in general? Like, what has changed in DJing for when you started to?
I think post-COVID, there was a major shift in, I think, shows and performances in general, but it was like, there was like the sounds were clicky. Like, this would be the sound at the events, and this is a tech house night, or this is like a specific type of rap subgenre night or whatever, where I felt like it was more clicky, and it was overall like the whole cities, like all the cities were like that, where it was kind of like the same stuff people were being like so focused on and being like hard ass about. And then after COVID, people were just excited to get out, and I think people were happy just to hear music again, and like if it's good, and they didn't really care as much. So I think there's more like I want to say open format because of preconceptions, but there's like
Shout out to Mixing with Love Bakery too.
Yes, sir.
They come with some real great treats.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's a secret though. We can't tell y'all what's in there. We can't tell y'all what type of, because you know, feel me?
Because it's mixing with love. For
It's
sure.
mixed with love.
Know
It's
what I'm
twisted
saying?
too. You know what I'm saying? So
You
make
not-
sure that
Yeah.
y'all tap in.
Inboxes.
Tell them add them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mix it with Love Bakery.
different genres can come out and the cultures are more accessible. Like, you know, in the past it was like hard because a lot of the rap shows were like this type of rap. But then like you want to do some old school stuff. I felt like there's always avenues there, but it was harder. And I think nowadays there's more communities based around these things where there's, you know, out here there's ghetto tech nights and techno specific nights. And, you know, maybe those nights are specifically that, but there's a lot more variety like everywhere. And people are less like pissed about genres or being too snooty about it. They just, you know, I don't know, they can vibe.
So, like, outside of your brother, like, who in the actual BK realm, who are some of those OGs that kind of like took you under their wing or kind of taught you things and then the way to where you are, huh?
Yeah, there's definitely tons of inspirations and tons of just thinking about it and paying attention. I will say that, you know, I would always pick up stuff from people, or I'm always learning new techniques. Someone knows something I don't know, and so I'm always trying to pick up stuff. So really anyone I interacted with, you know, at least when I was starting, you know, or took their advice or anything like that. But I feel like a lot of my musical path, I haven't been grinding on my own. I have friends and other people I've worked with, and I'm doing that, but I've really like focused on it myself. But there's been a lot of people who have been nice on the way, and I don't want to just be like, I kind of just don't want to like name drop or anything like that, you know what I mean? But like there are people that were really experienced that I got into connection with through like someone older that I knew, and they just were like, what I showed them something, they're like, that was cool or whatever, and just, you know, really feeling the love, reciprocating those lessons too. But, you know, no one knows everything, so no one can come up like they know everything, I feel like, you know, but there are certain levels of, you know, experience, you know, but just really soaking up game from everywhere, you know, you can. And a lot of it comes down to just respecting people and creating friendships and bonds. And, you know, like if someone's addicted to me, I'm not going to show them one of the pieces of sauce. Like, you know, like there was always supposed to be like all this formula for how we made beats and stuff. And certain people had certain parts of the formula, but not everyone had all of them. But that's like trade secrets, you know, I don't know. You got to respect people.
So now that you have been doing it, let's say about 10 years plus.
Yeah, it's like 16 years DJing.
So now you the OG. So who were you mentoring? Who were you giving game to one-on-one with? You propelling to the program?
I was running every Thursday for the past 2 years out back home in Lansing, and there were a lot of people that, you know, had newer experience, but I wanted to give anyone a platform, whether they play earlier, just get a feel for it. You don't know, it's different standing in front of a crowd, it's different when the gear is different,
Sure.
you know, so there's a lot of things. And I remember, you know, getting also put on those Tuesdays where I did put myself on a couple of them, but there was also someone that heard it and liked it and would always try to include me when he could, but trying to pass that back and do the same thing where there's people like, I always go, you know, I like your vibe as a person. Like, you could sound the greatest, but if you're in a dig, I don't want to work with you like that. So, you know, it's a lot of time because you can get better at things, but, you know, people that are good, care about it, you know, just sharing that love and giving them platforms. And like the show I just had, there was a couple of guys that like, I'd put them on a bunch of shows, you know, because they were doing their thing and getting better, and I like the sound. And they're all way more confident and have used CDJs now when they were on controllers only before, or, you know, all these things. And so I think it's important, and, you know, you can give like anybody once, but, you know, natural, like real, you know, people, like, you know, I kept giving them stuff rather than finding, you know, I don't know, whatever, just to get them some of the knowledge that I learned. And they can learn some of it on their own just from that experience, you know, too. So
For sure. I know we just was talking about like DJing and producing. So DJing inside, do you produce music that made you say drop or series of his music as well?
Yeah, I produced music for a really long time. I just dropped my kind of like a debut electronic album. Is my first definitely debut ghetto tech footwork Juke album. It's like 15 songs, like an hour long, and I made it over the past basically year. And that just came out like a couple weeks ago, or July 10th. That's on urfqkz.com, urfqkz.com, which is like my pseudonym for the electronic production.
Okay.
But anyway, so I just made that, and I'm really, really proud of it. I think that's going to be an important one. I'm going to try to get it on vinyl too for a first time on vinyl. So I was kind of focused on that, but yeah, I made beats forever in a day. You know, I do a lot on Ableton, but whatever you have, like I came up with like 2 pairs of broken headphones and not enough RAM in the computer, you know, just like I couldn't really, so you just got to work with what you got or work with what you vibe with too, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when did you drop your first album?
My Disputed. No, I definitely dropped a rap mixtape in like 2006 when I was pretty young. I uploaded on the internet on like a forum. I was like on forums, like interacting with people that did stuff because people that I was growing up with really weren't interested in the same things that I was doing. It was like, or whatever, I don't know. But so like 2006 I dropped that, but I definitely started uploading like stuff online. Like that was kind of like official, you know, but like 2012 was kind of like the first like official Big Sherm project under that name. But yeah, just always been dropping. I think that's important. Try to get some physical stuff too, because it seems like less important if you can't like touch it in a way. Like not less important, but like what's more important. Yeah. So I'm trying to go through and reprint some CDs from other stuff or stuff that never went on CDs. You know, yeah. Stay pushing.
So what number album are you on now?
I need to really like get a better track of this. I don't know, but it's like I think it's like over 45 for like rap stuff, and then this is like the first official electronic one. Though I've dropped a bunch of singles and like done some compilation stuff, or like I've been doing that too forever. But it's a lot. It's a lot. I got some stuff coming out. I try to drop at least once a year is like the minimum, but you know sometimes it would be a lot more than that. And you know this year I'm kind of balancing like making this new project, electronic project, follow up with like I also just been like wanting to like I've been making like beats like late night and just like man this beat, you know, so you know trying to just navigate that and you know figure out what my lane is or what my season is and what my favorite is right now, you know, a little bit.
So what was the creative process, or how did you come up with this album that you just shot?
They come together over periods of time. When I started really like going into the ghetto tech and footwork stuff, I was trying to make stuff, you know, like that at first, and just it was kind of fun and new to me. Not that I was unfamiliar with like Juke and in Miami bass and stuff, but it was kind of fun producing because I was kind of getting bored of just slapping out these like regular beats. And I figured out a way to combine sampling and stuff I like that with more of a faster dance pace, and that actually unlocked me playing. I never really played my tracks like almost ever, and then as I was making this and finishing up, I'm like, oh, I throw in some tracks, you know, whenever I can, or I played a whole set with just the album basically, you know, a couple times actually. So it's been fun to push that way with it, you know.
Well, for sure. Yeah, we living in like the TikTok era, fast paced and dance and music. So really, you dropping that album is at a perfect time frame for that type of music because it's never really been out of style, but everything revolutionizes itself. So you know, Juke, whether it's Jit, like that music is starting to make a huge comeback in the TikTok era or trendy era.
Yeah, I think you got to pay attention to the cycles, and that's what was really interesting about it because like I was like really like finding like this is the combination of other things that I liked or were aware of, and really like diving into like what's out or what's been out, and really going like deep into the old ghetto house stuff, and like I like older not older music, but I I do like learning the history just from listening to it, and watching those cycles. And for me, it's a good time. A lot of times I'll think of something, and then whether I do it or don't do it, like if I'm like, oh, I'm really feeling this, it will eventually be like the next hot thing, like whether I did it or not, but it was perfect timing, for me, where I was like, oh, like this is kind of like going off. And I'm always looking at the pioneers of it, and those are the people that I'm paying attention to and trying to, chop it up with, or, just listen to them, because that you can go make some new stuff, but I think you need a foundation, or I don't know.
Who would you consider to be the pioneer?
Of what specifically? Like genre or?
Juke be the.
Yeah, I definitely knew more like footwork stuff, like track. You get Tracksman and like Sluggo.
Okay.
But obviously Detroit, you have like Assault and Godfather. You had Manny and Rashad. I kind of tried to learn as much about that stuff as I could, like RP Boo and stuff. And really, at least, I don't know, people that were there first, or people who had names then, like, I feel like it's cool they're finally getting their respect, and you don't really know the timing. That's something I've realized a lot too, where like there's different timing. A lot of times it takes a lot longer than you think, and that's really like are you going for it or not, because it's going to could take a while. Sometimes it happens fast, or whatever. There's different lessons you're going to learn, but those guys, they got love. The pioneers were getting love back then, in whatever genre. But now when those things are coming back, and they're really getting the recognition and, maybe able to live off it. And I think this is definitely an era people are respecting pioneers of, whatever it is. Yeah.
Parties and sub-parties.
Yeah, and they're paying attention to it. You get the internet, more information, and there are people that care about that, history, and, it's even showgoers who, like, they want to see the people that they've read about or heard about,
For sure. So going back to the last 15 tracks, which track, or is it multiple tracks on this album, or you spent the most time on me, like, this is like my favorite, this is my baby? I had to take it to a different level for this specific track or tracks.
I felt like this whole project was like a good exercise for me in doing that with specifically production. There were a couple towards the beginning, my Kaiju Godzilla song and Momentum, my Moments of Love flip, or Moments in Time, Moments of Love, whatever. Yeah. So those like were earlier on, after I'd got a couple like other ones done, or I was just figuring things out, figuring out what tempos I want to do and like how to just work stuff, doing those where I really like the Godzilla one or whatever. I was just like, oh, I spent a lot of time on it and got it, just right. And it was another one of those things like, oh, this one is like perfect, and because even if it's not perfect, I think a lot of times you got to put stuff out. I think this whole album though, to me, is like, oh, I feel like 100% about every track on it. I feel like I put the time in to make it what it needed to be. But the first couple of songs, I mean, like, are really like ones I really made. The third song, Shake That, and the fourth song, To the Flow. Those were all like no samples. Like I did a lot of samples and flips on the album. It was kind of like the basis of it, and trying to flip things in new ways or things I haven't heard, or in ways I haven't heard. But then I kind of backed it up by like busting out a keyboard and some, VSTs or whatever, and making just, no sample stuff, because I had gone through and learned how to do that with beats like many years ago. So it's like, oh, that skill is like useful. So to there. Yep. I'm starting to learn, piano the last like year or two. My buddy was like teaching me stuff. It's been a while since we've done that, but I've like learned a lot. Like I'm learning theory for the first time. I kind of was just like, let me feel it out my whole time. Like I don't want to fuck it up or whatever, and make me think the wrong way and not be able to do it. But now I'm like kind of like understanding the concepts of the basics. I'm always about the foundation, the roots of something. If you understand, the beginning, you can kind of understand the other parts a little bit better, I think. But yeah, I mean, I definitely am just stuck at it. But I've always had friends, the D4E like rap crew. We've always made beats together. I've been around my homies and people, and we've always pushed each other to do that. And it's something we like to do. And what a awesome way to spend a day, and you feel accomplished afterwards or whatever. So there's always been people I've been around and friends that have done it too. There's people, I ran a studio at someone else's place when I was younger, like temporary. He was like letting us try to make some bread, and I met these guys like Hyphy and Rock.
I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, man. We got the lit cup in here, man. You know what I'm saying? You can indulge in your tea, and then you can smoke your bud on the bottom, man.
And Paga and Izzy all there, but they came through and they were spending bread, getting the albums recorded. And we were all young, around the same age, and we're like all really tight still to this day. And we've always kind of locked in with people that are into similar things or hustle. I'm very like hustling, trying to push it, trying to grind on it.
For sure.
I learned that from the music and culture.
What's the science behind the name?
It was given to me. I always was trying to figure out what my rap name or producer name was. I had a bunch, but I worked at a B-Dubs, and my manager every day would be like, "What up, Big Worm? I mean, Big Worm. I mean, Big Sherm. Because my last name's Sherman. So, I was trying to figure out a name, and this one kid I knew was like, "You should go with your last name. Everyone calls you that." And he started saying that, and I was looking for something and really in a new era. And I ended up making a project under that name after he said it like every day, but it just kind of happened and it made sense, and I just kind of pushed it. It felt right. And then, so now I do a lot of electronic stuff, so it can be like a little confusing. So that's why I do Big Sherm is like all the hip hop stuff on like streaming, but then the F QKZ, pronounced Big Sherm, is my electronic production. But as far as performing, at the end of the day, it's still me. Like it's my name. Like honestly, or whatever.
Essentially, like two different our personalities. That you got one that fits this, one that fits that, but they all the same. They can measure.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out the electronic one, and that one's gonna be more of like a character. It's gonna be like, like I'm gonna actually play it that way because it's like I'm wearing like a tiki mask. Like the name was always like Island Tiki, born in a volcano, like some goofy thing like that, some funny shit. But obviously keeping it real, I'm not hiding like whatever. It's still me. But typically when I'm on a show, it's still under Sherm, whatever. And based on what the event is, you'll kind of know what you're getting, or if they need to define it, whatever. So, I mean, it's complicated, but I've just been trying to figure out how to make it work, and this is kind of where it's at right now. I'll DJ under the electronic name or whatever, it has to be. But at the end of the day, it's all me, so it's just a way to try to help classify it. I mean, I think that's something, I can't speak for everybody, but like there are definitely sometimes, I think it's less like nervous, like, sometimes if you're not like prepared like at all, or like maybe you're just in the wrong mindset, it can definitely be on your nerves, have like a beer or something before, smoke a joint or whatever, right? But I think it does kind of depend on your preparation. I think it was like something Kobe said, like I'm never nervous for a game because I know I put in the work, I'm prepared for it, so, but there are important shows or certain things where it's like, I gotta get this right. Like, this is not the time to fuck up, you know what I mean? But, it depends. Like, my other buddy has been doing it for like almost 30 years, and he always gets like the jitters. But I think that feeling that's like almost like the butterflies or whatever, that nervous feeling, I try to look at that differently too, where I'm like, when you feel that way, like maybe like that's kind of like when you kill it or when you're on your toes, it's actually like getting your nervous system, moving, and it's actually preparing you. And so I've kind of been like, okay, if I'm thinking that way, I realized this even just yesterday where I was like, I think it's going to be good because I'm like, I don't say worried about it, but like I want to get it right, where I've been going to shows where I'm like, it'll be fine. I'm like, not even thinking, I don't even know what I'm gonna play. I don't even know what genre or whatever. I play something, I switch it, and those you fuck up perhaps more on that type of vibe than actually being like ready for it. And so I try to think of the nervous thing like that. But again, this is preparation. Like there's a level of like I prepared for this, but it's still important, still a big deal. It depends on the venue. Like I did one where I was just on the drive. I was like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now, what I want to play. And that just made it harder, But getting in the zone, we're like, all right, yeah, more in touch you are with yourself, I guess.
So, how did you get into the lead events performance in DJ?
Yeah, I'm just kind of realizing there was a avenue for that, and just seeing like how many like dispensaries or companies that are doing events and shows or booking, names and actually having acts like just popping up at their place or whatever. Realizing there was that. I mean, weed's something that's always been around for me, and it's just helped me in general in life. It's certainly like the best, of any alternative, depending on, medicine or whatever. But so realizing that existed, also my friend took me on a run to like do some dispensary customer service days, doing the third eye stuff, and just kind of I want to promote more. I'm looking for brand deals, opportunities, promotion, trying to get in touch with it because it's something that I am an advocate for. Like I'm not as affiliated with the industry on the inside, but it's something that's important to me, and just trying to stay involved with that because there's money people can get paid. This is bringing like jobs or whatever, this is giving people a livelihood or something they can be good at, and do, or something they knew how to do before but now can get paid for or whatever it is. So, just trying to stay involved as much as I can. I need to do a little bit more outreach, but I want to be like, you think of some people that are like synonymous. You get like a Devin the Dude, a Snoop Dogg or something, like you just, not everything they do is about that. Maybe even not a lot of it's about that.
Synonymous.
But you just know like he's a smoker and that's the person you want, and that's their image of that or whatever, iconic of that. And so I'm trying to up that too, because it's just there's opportunity out there for a lot of different venues between glass blowers and growers and business people and sales people and whatever, venue owners like this. That's something that can help, and as long as it's in a way that's helping people too, and not just taking money from it, because I the roads suck. I don't know how education get money. I don't know about how the taxes work on all this stuff, but if there's community stuff, like be involved, man.
For sure. What do you think? Is there any difference in between the different events, like a cannabis event and then just a gig that you make, or that you are, called out some format? Or what's the difference?
Yeah, it definitely do depend on the gig, because some things are for love or part of your community or culture, like spending at your like the whoever's like block party or backyard, versus like I went to the Flint yesterday. I think that there's definitely a lot of, I don't want to say like branding or corporate, because not all the weed events are corporate, but there's just a lot of products, commerce. It also means there's money flowing through. Maybe people buy some shirts or whatever, merch. So I think there's a little bit more like, I don't want to say security in that, but there's like a little bit more like money or push behind it, or there's just, something, because they are doing this for a reason too. And so there's like a lot of time structure. But for other events, there's some like, this is just, really good DJs who know what they're doing, playing this type of music that we love, and it's going to be a good ass time. And, going and rocking out there is definitely where like it's not based around like whatever, as much of an industry as just like something people love to do. So it really depends, but events can be so diverse, whether you're spinning just electronic or house or whatever, because people are playing whatever, stores and at fields and in bars and in wet churches or whatever, it's all sorts of shit depending on what you want to do.
So, what about the different cannabis events? Like, what do you see in those different vibes? Like, obviously, you say you've been some that workers, some freer. Like, what will be the difference between those two?
I mean, I think that a lot of times those events where they look at music is important, especially for DJs and getting people like employed, is like they realize the importance of having music there and having good music there. Yes, there's good pull, but it's also a vibe setting thing, an energy setting thing. And I think a lot of places like that understand the value of it, and it's less about like, obviously they want to, sometimes they book bigger artists because they want to get the pull, but I think there's a lot of like understanding the importance of having that there and tied there and having a good time, because a lot of these people in the industry, like the weed industry, like that hasn't been around that long, they were doing other stuff, or affiliated maybe music or whatever, entertainment, or they're working. So there's just a lot of ways to to connect there. But, you know, I think that a lot of them are good vibes, you know, and I think that, I think they understand the importance in, you know, booking people that are good and actually vetted and, you know, not just because they're big names, I think, but like because the person who's booking it actually is like, you know, this is something that makes sense to them and they like it, you know. I think, I mean, they're also, I mean, there's all sorts of cool things. There's festivals and, you know, so, I mean, I don't think most of them feel corporate or anything by that means, but it's cool that I feel like it's really important that there's like a marketplace, you know, money's being spent, there's stuff going on and people are investing in the stuff going on, you know, because it just unfortunately, you know, makes the world go around in certain ways, or at least part of it, you know. So I think that's nice. I like grassroots too. I don't know, it depends. But throw me in the weed festival and you have Bone Thugs or whatever playing too. That sounds good, you know. Like, but yeah, I think there's a lot of really good stuff, and honestly, there's more. You know, electronic music and DJ stuff was always been around and been big, but the more and more people are noticing, spending money, and then with the weed companies, you know, investing in the shows, like, I think it's definitely helped uplifted.
For sure. To
Yeah, just like myself, I fuss a lot about it. I think a lot about cannabis legalization. So do you as well, sir. Like, talk about your advocacy for like wanting to see on cannabis fully legal, federally legal as well, and just there are no matter restrictions or no bounty. But yeah, I mean,
There's obviously a time where, you know, it looked a certain way if you were affiliated with that or synonymous with that or whatever. And I think it's so important, you know, that it's put out there like this is, you know, a totally regular thing, you know, totally regular thing, and it's okay, and there's no way to look at it. Like I met, you know, this sweet older lady, and then she was talking about something about like, she didn't say firing up, but she was talking about smoking or whatever, and it was kind of like, you know, like, well, I didn't expect that, but then I was kind of like checked myself, and I was like, you know, obviously it wasn't an issue. I was like, oh, that's cool or whatever, but, you know, the more it's just totally like not even like looked at in that way. I mean, I don't think it's for everyone, and I think people should understand and be educated, honestly, about it. It's really not for everyone, and some people are allergic to it or whatever. So I don't think it should be just like, you know, disregarded, but, you know, definitely not judged. And it's important to have these things and, you know, have them out in the open. And, you know, I think a lot of these places are like, yeah, come through, like, you know, city people or whatever, like, we're not doing anything wrong, and everyone here is peaceful and chill. And a lot of these don't have, you know, drinking and stuff either, so people are just hanging out, you know, getting some food, chilling, and yeah, just pushing and reminding people of that, you know, that it's a totally normal thing, and it should not be ostracized, and it's a lot better now. But, you know, keeping that at the forefront too.
like I always say, yeah, cannabis in certain smaller cities, right? Actually, they boosted the economy of smaller cities. People are having more jobs. People are not confined to their forfeit standard at these cannabis jobs where you have to, you know, do this, do that. Like, people are having no freedom at this trend, the job. I feel like we grew up, so if I can say we in the same age range, we grew up in a generation where we knew at some point we was going to be legal. Yeah, we was going to be more free and more open. So, like, this is a crazy generation to live in. We will do CDs,
Got vapes in schools.
vapes, right? Like, talk about like our generation, our specific culture, right? We didn't see a lot of shit, whether it was the weed or the culture. Like, this is the most open the world is probably.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw, you know, I mean, you getting in trouble for this, and it was like everywhere. You know, there weren't many places that you wouldn't, you know, really get in something. Maybe not, I don't know how severe, and depending on the place, but, you know, that was definitely the thing. You're hiding, you're running, you know, like as a kid, like running off the parking garage or some shit, you know. And it was then, you know, 2010 Prop 1, you know, seeing California and all this stuff, like, whoa, this is being legalized, this is a new thing, and this is actually for real coming, and they'll figure out. It took time though, so it's still like, you know, I had a med card and I forgot it, but I had a bunch of weed and it was totally the right amount. But it was like a whole thing. They called like 3 cops, and we had to verify the card and all that stuff. And so like, it was just all sorts of, I got in trouble for weed stuff, myself, back in the day. And so, it's cool to see now it being accessible. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I still think people should understand it. And like, it's, as much as it can be a medicine, it can also be like, I think of it as like, it can be like a small, a tiny psychedelic or something like that or whatever. It affects your mind, it affects your body. Just, you should understand what you're putting in. And
but keep it real. Yeah, we come from the same. I kind of miss those days where you had to jump through a couple hoops just to get some weed. It's like, hey, somebody got some weed? Like, yeah, he stayed on the street. You get to that person. It's like, well, no, you got to go to this other guy. Oh, hop the fence, go over, and you got to pay him $200 for it. Yeah, the way you paying $200 worth of weed that exceeds the amount that you paying for it. Yeah, and it's all fire. Yeah. That Reggie's. Yeah, like you go through those different eras where you just smoke a little Reggie, then you get the mids, and you finally get to some good shit. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like we can literally walk around the corner. It could be a dispensary. We just bump into some unit accident. Yeah. Right. Don't you miss those days where it was just a little bit more not necessity?
Yeah, I mean, everyone doing it does take a little bit out of the fun of it originally, at least as a kid then. But I definitely do miss that. I mean, for me, a big thing is like I still get weed from my homies or whatever. Not all the time. There's a smaller store I go to all the time. Down the street from where I'm like doing shows and stuff, I go in there. There's certain things I get from there, but flour and stuff. I still, I miss those days where, people were growing there. It was like kind of smaller operations or like going and grabbing jobs. Yeah. It was like people. It's not just in the hands of just like independent people. It's more like, it's more official and stuff and business oriented, which is a good thing for regulations. There's plenty of positives out of that too. But I do, I do miss like all my homies or whatever, and I think it's important to, it's good that we saw the difference of it too, because we knew there was nothing wrong with this and it was fine, but it was still like, we gotta literally jump through hoops or whatever sometimes. But it's cool. But I still don't think like I would never advocate for like, all right, high schoolers, like you should start smoking weed or something like that. I think I'm not saying I didn't do it then, and people make their own decisions, but like there's a level. It's like it is very accessible where kids are having vapes and stuff. But I guess you're supposed to be over 21 and stuff. But I know.
So that's how it was then. That's kind of more on the adults and letting the kids do their. Yeah, but at the same, the judge on it at all. But I don't think kids should smoke recreationally, but if you got like some type of business, what's the slavery like? We should, like, you are sold something to prolong the life. Yeah, for sure.
So there's weird things with that, with like, how the legalization, but it's great. And people, I mean, there's still places that are getting in trouble. I remember earlier you were just talking about smaller places I never thought would have dispensaries, or places that you'd get in the most trouble for if you were there, like small cities like in Michigan or wherever, states. There's entire states where I'm like, oh, they were the worst, like I remember like
Indiana.
Yeah, so Indiana, or even like Ohio even, I think too, where it's like, I mean, they're legalizing it and it's benefiting the community from my knowledge. I'm not out here researching it all, maybe check, but as far as I'm aware, it's money, I think mental health even, and all sorts of positives. Like,
it's a sure about money until I tell you that. It's not to overindulge, but just that right strand, that right vibe, or get this apart big. Yeah. Moderation also. I smoke
every day, and I've smoked every day for a long time. And I've had breaks, sometimes I've stopped, and whatever. But what's right for you. Like,
but yeah, so talk about the first time you got
the first time I got high, I wanted to actually for a long time before. Let's go probably when I was like 14.
So, I'm 32. They said 32. So we start smoking at the same age, same. Yeah.
I had wanted to for a long time. Like I had access to internet because my dad had worked at a place that he needed it, like dial-up type shit or whatever. But I remember just being like really interested in like talking to people online, like I said, that smoke weed, like sending me, pictures of weed. And I'm like, yo, like that's crazy. Because as a kid, I was like, I just kind of was a fan of it already, but I like read about it. I'm like, what is that even like? So I wanted to for a while. My friends I was hanging out with like had already quit by that age or whatever, you know what I mean? Some crazy shit. But this girl that lived down the street, one of my good friends, didn't have papers.
She rolled up the phone out of peculiar pay.
What the fuck?
She didn't have no pay bills.
Hey,
And
shout out to her.
it was rough, but it did.
Shout out to her. Give her a shout out. We did. You be told we give her a shout out. But that's
Computer pay for seeking slow.
It was she tried to use as little as possible, but still like, and I didn't care. I was like, I've been wanting to smoke.
I was,
was at least some good.
I think it was. I mean, I was like, I'm not saying all sorts of crazy things, but I was just like, what's the yeah, especially when you're younger, when you first start, you actually have it's so powerful. You need in small amounts each day, right? Just right around very ruthless. Probably shouldn't have came home and knew them 4 hours after that chill, but I mean, it was on after that, and like it did make me feel good, and I definitely. But also, some things going on like anxiety, social anxiety, just growing up, there are a lot of personal stuff, and I think that always helped. I'd smoked cigarettes before I smoked weed, but I didn't really want to smoke cigarettes. I wanted to smoke, weed or whatever, and it did similar things, but the weed's just something special about it. I take it very seriously, and it's probably saying blessing every time I smoke. Maybe I should, but it's a real part.
Do you smoke with Puckshones?
Yeah, pretty much without fail. Usually whether I'm on my way there or not like on my way, but like, getting ready to go.
Yeah, getting involved, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I try to have something. I keep my vape. I try to have a vape or whatever. I'm not like blowing out, the whole time or whatever. But I smoke a little bit beforehand, just kind of chill, relax. I'll take a second, and then when I'm playing, I'll play to like whatever 20, 30 minutes. So kind of like the reset clock and just hit the vape or something, and just said chill and just kind of get acting. We go on a little bit. I mean, sometimes I smoke a whole bun, I'm like, when you're feeling it or whatever, it doesn't mess me up. It slows down time, but it makes it easier for me to do out duty. Once I'm into two things at once already, or more, or whatever. And so, it keeps me right for a while. Smoke as much as I want to get that. Bunch of deal one, and go do that, and then start barking up.
You got a certain threshold.
You know what I mean? So, but I think it's important. I'll do it without it, whatever, depending on the event or whatever the circumstances. But I've smoked before and bearing and Hamburg. Yeah, I typically get off stage and I beeline to go outside and split and take a second, go by myself or just something, or one of my homies or something. So chill out for like 10, 15 minutes of the after, So it's all a different part of the process. It helps stay pretty, better to like just take the rest of hair.
Because even what you said earlier about for social anxiety, I'm pretty sure you have to put people with the social anxiety because got people can no request, got people going thanking, got people get me feed that that's allowed, been present, sir. How does that help the social anxiety with respect?
There's a lot, it'd be a lot going on, and it keeps you like dialed in or community zone, or just like keeping your focus on whatever. Because there's a lot of stuff that could be going on beforehand. Immediately before the parent event, you around people talking with you, or you get a crazy text from someone, real shit, like So it helps like keep focus on there. My social anxiety wasn't like what it was when I was a kid. I was normal or really bad, but like, there's a lot going on, and just the focus and come back to yourself. a lot of mind, body, spirit stuff, just like, and seeing and prepare for the whole thing. There's a lot of different pieces. But from irate, never fear. Super tired or full, that can affect you too. And so just keeping kind of all these things together, try to read. Or most definitely, it's combine all this. Is body, actual way of my mind, that's satisfier, everything good, connected, and really, I'm big on also chanting, but like just letting
Visualize.
hearing the wind. I would say you're just really like paying attention to this one and in those subtle flows.
Sure. So take me through it, bro. You get booked for a show. It's the day of the show. What's your setup? What's your time frame? You got a team? You got somebody to help you? Like, what's your setup on the day of the show?
I there are definitely people that I do work with, but like all the time, whether it's like go forever, like Jack through or other people that then work looking at the shows, but like I'm doing everything. I'm whatever Matt say. I'm the booking, tour manager. I'm the photographer, the artist, the producer. I'm there when no one's there after the thing, whatever. So I'm going through all that stuff. I try to give myself enough time while I'm not rushing them. I'll feel so clean burgers as I want to be. I also want to be like the town early. Control, be able to smoke a little bit, just like I relax. Before any, give me, I'm not super obsessive, like I have to need all these things, the incense lit in order for me to do it right or whatever. But I come in, I'll smoke, try to vape on the trip, or when I get there, set up kind of. I like to hang out, so I'm not really riding out all the time or anything. But I go to show, but I also like feel where like, especially how close it is, get locked self sometimes. So that just beats on myself for a little bit, too distracted going in.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure distractions can happen just like that when
they're happen. Yeah, and there's always this unexpected type stuff, or can't put too much weight on expecting things to happen exactly like this. Like, I don't know how the state, I don't know what they're happen, right? I might know the gear a little bit, or something can change, or you forgot, whatever.
But for you, like you stated earlier, you prepared, and that part of it is a vanity part of what don't matter much to you. You just there, how that didn't go. How people react to it.
Yeah, and that's the end of the day. And like, don't get me wrong, I want this, to be, where I can store all my time and energy and really be able to do this too, but it's also recording. But being able to, I don't do stuff that you can't use. Way you like something, that showcases you, something that, people connect with the something that's authentic for you too. That means you keep being you be more like that, even if it's something different from last time, but it's they like you, and that's what their connection with. And then feel good too to do it. Oh, someone connects with you, right? So I scattered people I killed there.
Sure. Man, so this is Smoke Song Podcast now. What's your top 5 strains of all time?
I always fucked with like Flea Dreams. They don't OTD, so that's like kind of like a stereotype. OTDs, cakes, things like that. I remember it was called like Cheese Dog or something. I got it. I was created this like 2013 or something like that. And it was ordered to my room. Like it was like that. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to do that. Anyway, I thought that was like, it was a blue dream and with Hem Dog, something. I forget all with it. That was all the craziest things. I'm choosing OG's cakes with all. They didn't even go to shape tall, but he's been in it. I fuck with Blue Dream. Just anything that wrong, really. Right. Red character with glasses.
Facts. So what strains are you smoking on?
I knew I needed to ask my buddy what this was. This it's fire. I like that apple fritters and stuff like that too. Yeah, something I'm big about hybrids, indica, leaning. I like sativas, but I'm pretty much like blue, purple and stuff. Like, that's why I like Old Beaver or Cypher. I'm definitely hybrid, big building. But Steve has got his place for his times, like, my buddy all draws. the sativa for going to bed or whatever, but even that gets its creativity. So there's that. Or what? Like the little bit like hitting me in the chest and relaxing. It's very durable. Not just buying my mind to
So do you fuck with the strands, or do you fuck with the brands as well? Like friends, the certain strands, or do you just, as long as it's a good strand, then it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I would say it don't matter. I'm kind of this way with a lot of things, like including music, but like I don't really know what the ones are. Like, you know, I can tell when I read it, it's like I like it, but then I'm not like, oh, this is my little. And a lot of things think that is like I need more time to spend with those strands. Right, I can't tell right off the first, time that give me like they eat them or so little day or compare them. So there's definitely stuff I like better, generic, or something. I'm like, oh, I don't really like that as much. You didn't really do it for me on a day. I'm not super specific about brands or even, the specific strain. But generally, I always look at what's kind of good made of. Sure, what's that strain made of? Right? The false I like get bars or cases there is it. Yeah, there's the other part of hair that there's and Larry's and all this, whatever. But so I'm more about like, yes, origin and stuff too. But I really don't be paying attention to its more the popping brands and stuff like right, whatever this or that. I smoked a lot of them, through there. But I'm not super tired. Like I said, looking for for little things, my shit working and stuff. So they're interested in going through brand stuff and trying all their things. So, maybe that's on Friday stuff. Or the mentality of how what I smoke. It's gotta be good, sick it, drug addicts, pound it, smoke it. I'm not a small scientist with it.
Right.
But that makes me want to do it more. And I'm like, which ones are the ones, nowadays? Because you can really get a lot of those strains or eat them. Like you can grab those strains off of us or you get for whatever it was available to, right? So,
Right. Yeah. You were just talking about like sponsorships and branding and stuff like that. Your posts about the goodest like birds of that in the parts like having this or dealing with Aquan and Brandon having brands aligned too as well.
yeah. I think branding definitely is important. I think definitely should do it over. And like we were talking earlier, people, if they connect with you, it makes it easier to do what you do. Connect with that. You can make stuff that, that's not as much you, and then maybe it's successful or whatever. But I like the idea of being able to do what you do. And so that's kind of like forming a brand where, people want to connect with that brand and this divide that we might build for other stuff. Like, like it's just kind of like a way that people connect. So you get behind something that has like, I don't say value, but has value. You know what I mean? Like these kind of like people who ride with their should be like whatever people that would want. Like I know it's kind of community family for anyone who wants to roll with them basically. So I think it's important to have brands that we develop your name. And then working with other grants, it's important to combine those things. I wear a lot of my own shirts, but the more I've been interested, done a couple of times, wearing a couple of stuff. No one can stand completely on their own, you know what I mean? So more people, and it's a share. Not sharing bread, but just having commerce flowing and people behind different things. It always I out, one person doing something. There's a lot of times that's interested that like multiple people are involved in it. It's kind of just something that they died basically how it's just singing their so aligning with other people from, or whether it's brands or stores or something in the community or in developing your own supplement. They like they're behind. I had shirts that had just I had shirts that adult brush and people called to get behind these stuff. People want to feel part of and I feel something, share something. as much as, I'll wear a shirt with, I don't know how we'll wear a shirt with your name on it, but, I would wear your Smoke Song podcast more because it's something we give on. Just to talk to, we it online too. It's just,
Community is the tenacity. That's important as a equal.
other people.
Yeah. So kind of speak a little bit more on this. How are you building your brand? How have you built your brand?
Should be.
Yeah. I've been doing stuff for a really long time. But I'll say up front that, like, I've been doing, there were 15 shows, or like 11, 12 average, and plus 2 years, 100 plus last year, 7 years this year. So like I'm out there, put the name on the thing, but being able to yeah, I think it's building your brand. You don't have to. You can look at it analytically. I mean, there's definitely stuff in that. Like how I want to build a team. A stronger team. Like I would love to be able to bankroll or dream to your own stuff. But things happen and keep it work together a lot. Or where I don't have to be the one doing all these things. Not that I mind it. Cool doing it, but it takes time away from you. Other things, or the things that go faster. So I built at a dope level. It was like kind of like a full effort, creation, and we ended up like dropping tracks under it. Okay, we dropped some albums, and it kind of became a way that me and my friends that reflected tonight, because like their independent crews kind of like broke up or whatever, just was there, and I was like not in the through. I was always doing my own shit as much, so I always wanted one. I wanted one with Ben too, and it just kind of like happened like pretty naturally. Did some stuff where there was a very tone, but we started using it, and then now like I said, some people we try to get behind, like people can be involved in it, and I just wanted to like think for something greater too, but it isn't currently that.
It's important to have that. I
And be able to connect more with yourself, being selfish about it. Like, and again, I don't think it can take you as far as your partner. It's all about when it's very busy you. So just having something like what you're doing with the Reiki looking right, it's about both parts, everyone's, connected in that way. So I think that's the important part of maybe not just band, because you actually have something you can find visually or music, there's got to be something on it. Like it's all of the ours is the foundation. You already saw all those just sports. It was it's a piece of the book. Yeah, so like having that stuff, having a brand, having a good product, I'm not saying product sells itself. You hear some marketing that does that, but you got to have there's an offer or something to whether it's dropping music or art or giving back. You have to have a product. So in longevity, I think too, like having something that can last, grow with you, improve. So I grew up both.
What's your craziest high story?
I bet it were.
High story or weed story?
This one, the first song I'm thinking of, this one didn't happen to me, but I remember making volumes for the first time in my class. I think what they were doing, we made this, put like a ton in it, and it was like some blue Reggies or something at the time. Like, it was like, they put a lot in it, but they knew what they were doing. I was like, man, I'm down to try it. I ended up just like the whole pan, just UV a flavor of it.
Damn.
Yeah. I was like, whatever. I was like, it's a quarter, right? Or whatever. It's a quarter each or something. Like, I smoked that before, right? So I didn't really have much idea. So, we did that, and then it wasn't kicking in fast enough, so we smoked like a bong or whatever. And my homie just is like immediately sick. You put like too much butter. Like we had too much butter in it too, to like absorb it based on whatever. And so I just remember he was like pretty much down for the count. I think we lost the other guy. He says how he went upstairs, singing to me, the other guy. And so came back to his place, and just down the street, but he had to like get out and just wait in the grass or kill him and stuff. I don't know. I definitely had crazy, experiences. Like I think it can hit really hard. I used to get a lot of visual stuff, like kind of like cartoony, stuff like, but getting stuck on some edibles. That's, I guess, like one of the more recent ones would be cooking up some edibles. Now all they do is later make some butter or something. The homie made some mac and cheese, and that shit was amazing. It's going to be the craziest mac and cheese, but it was all over here. And it was just like that. I went home and woke up in the middle of the night and ate some more. Because I was hungry, and I was like, it wasn't that strong. It was just like a bite or two, but it was that strong. And so, laying in the bed, and just like, I don't know, spinning, but almost like out of body experience, same thing. Because too much edible for your body, especially too, like, you
feel like you slowly dying, get a real bit.
it was, yeah.
But another product too, Dionysus.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be one of the most fire urban liquor, wine, and spirits in the city.
Facts.
It's based off of the Divine Nine, off of the frats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the names are based off of the frat.
The different
Now,
frats.
you don't want that. The owner really don't want to, disrespect no frats.
Yeah.
So he put them in a secret name. And
okay.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first tried it, the best type of liquor that's mixed is when you don't taste the liquor.
Yeah.
When it sneak up on you, like
When
when
it
you
hit
know
you
it's liquor, but it don't taste like liquor. It tastes more like the juice than the liquor.
But
and when I
hit
hit it, and it hit. I bought 4 of them the first time I met him. Then he came on the pod. Shout out to the company. He came up to the pod, and I told Marcus don't even drink.
No.
But he just tasted it. He just tasted a little bit of it.
Right. Go watch that video.
And it was up.
Hey, see how I was acting. See how I was reacting. It's really actually an amazing drink. That hit. It got the nice flavors to it. I had two or three different kinds. I had like 2 or 3 different kinds, and they all
gotta get you some
had
too,
a
man.
Good taste.
He got a doggy bone one. Yes,
he got a doggy bone.
I need it. I need 2 of them. You remember?
Yeah. So shout out to Dionysus, and it's a great product that y'all should try, man.
I was transported, I felt like, just like really, really being stuck like that. It shit is some different powerful fats too, especially concentrated.
And the edibles are a lot more slicker now. Like you can't keep the taste of it. And you find the life of you ate too much or something.
I always misread the label. Like I try to check, but I'm always like, oh, this is like 10 milligrams of this. I have a couple, and you're 20, or you're more than that, or whatever. And I just, it's not as obvious. Most of them is you can pretty much tell, but sometimes they're whoops, like I accidentally took like double one in the dock or take it or whatever it is. But you don't need to get over the tolerance to it. You gotta be used to it. If I stopped to get another, so, but that's just a little bit goes a long way, and people have like, and it's people that's also so. That's all. Cancer. They're talking about audible questions about small doses. Then others. Nowadays, they break it down scientifically, and they guess for that person, and CBD is like a thing. And I smoke CBD. I like CBD and what for their purposes. I think that big though.
So talk about your influence as far as the preparation. Hey, bro, when you was the idea behind them when the high school spirit in Jeopardy.
Yeah, that there's another thing I found that happened naturally. Like I had got small runs of shirts. Came glad my button and everything or whatever. Those were cool and still good to have the stuff on the shirt, but then I kept coming up with ideas. I got a really triple the place about retro belt games, Lansing, I worked at them for years and years. It's an odd, and just give them the, I like making the design look drafted. It's maybe not my best suit, but to some people, but yeah, I know what I want, just what I could, so do what I'm doing now, and this. Not too and so it's to try something I like or those ideas. But the more I can do them, and the more I see, the more I see, and people respond to it, people like it. I'm selling out. Like I just dropped me right last couple of weeks ago. The plus shirt, couple sizes. I'm sold all the way out the lows, and so it's just been kind of something there. Just actually I'm around watching the designs. But another real lesson I learned though is about the reality of, let's say, streaming or whatever, where it's like selling a CD for $10 is like whatever 5,000, 10,000 tries. You can't support me enough to pay me that. by just listening to it. So realizing that those smaller things, without $20 shirts or whatever, it makes $30 shirt, but that like is way more impactful for the artist. Really, you want to sell the music through, but merchandise or that's something I wear is useful. It identifies the brand. It identifies the brand too. It's like some people actually they make your shirt. You know what I mean, or whatever. So there are people that support the music. They maybe people more support like your basic style. It's like people supporting like all my homies. Shout out to all my homies rapping. That are rapping the shirts. I'm in the shows wearing the shirts, just like I do too.
You're like saying behind there. We all pray that they make you poses. He's the bullshit as you there. It's just that I mean that there's a lot of money there. I know touring, artists, rappers they're making maybe not the biggest bag depending on what their level or where they at is, but like I've seen they were making like $10,000 for shirts. So Wiz or something selling the shirts or show that Wiz was at. I know he got paid a bag up there, but I was like selling people I don't know, just paying attention to, and now wow, like it's a whole other bag, the connection actually bills.
So like just recapping everything, like they've done music, they've done DJing, was blended the cannabis with it, like ultimately, like as of today, like how would you define your medicine and the different things that you've been able to do this process to?
It's definitely like it's a journey. It really, and you're not understanding, but respecting the journey and not the destination. And really, like, anytime I'm custom, should I be doing something else other than music or whatever? I do other things too or whatever, not just, but, remembering the things that what I'm doing has brought me and those lessons, people I met along the way doing what I'm doing. And just being able to like remember, all the connections and the importance of it. And then as far as giving back, I do want to get back the same stuff people did to me. Stuff. I'm out here grinding by myself. No one does it by someone, gave you a 20 bucks, or, whatever, like gave you really important hours, always stayed with you. And so, being able to give back in that way, so you can do your thing and also understand why you're doing. I learned lessons from it. Maybe that's my way of it. I need to get the most out of this to make this worth it, but just value the whole journey. And I'm always copying beautiful, like, coming from authenticity. I'm not trying to put everything fake out or try to like act some way because this is what works best or whatever, or at least at this point maybe I'll try that, maybe not. It's like, just this being like you can do this. So I get that to this. It's just like it's growing up. It's gonna happen. So if it gives people some life, that's what I want too. I want some life, so getting back to Uber, right? Having a good day, make my weekend, my day, just coming here doing this it's important. It's important. It's the purpose, so I'm working on the community, connect with each other, not separating from each other. The good and the bondage is all. It's all from the good and the. That's what's important.
What's something about DJing that you didn't know or that you done out that is multiple success?
Definitely like lately it's really been like focusing on doing what I'm doing it, like what I like, at the end of it, set myself apart. Is like I always would do the things I like to do. I would try other things, but I would, I think everyone goes this. I'll be looking at what everyone else is doing and kind of being like, why my thing ain't working like that, or trying to do a little bit of that, and really just kind of like mess with it. And you should push the boundary, experiment. But then really coming to realizations a couple of years ago, I learned making this rap up. Like, I'm just gonna make these beats, I'm just gonna spit 2 bars and do something that's just completely like, here's what it is, for what it's worth. Like I said, here's what it is right here, right now. And realizing that life, and then people responding to it, like, oh, I like this too, or like they're connecting with other people. It has been, oh, I can do it.
I have to cop what's hot or what's popular, and people can vibe with that.
We're not very specific or that. Right, this I just figuring out like, oh, to capitalize on my own sound and my own groove. It was, yeah. I wish I really focused on that soon. Or we all grow up and we all looking around and sort of learning and seeing what other people are doing. It takes time, and yeah, that's that part. Like it. That is get the theory.
What's the most important thing you learned about yourself throughout this security county?
It might be like capability, like tenacity and custody, but like doing these things about the cheating them, like whatever. Just haven't gone through the processes and really like done it, and especially stuff I'm like, oh, this stuff I've done on my own. It really made it worked on my thing, like proving it to myself, like being able to see that and being capable. I think whatever you put your mind to, you could do it. Wherever that focus is, if you really want to, whether you're gifted or not with it or whatever, you can learn most things and be down for. So just being like able to, just to keep learning by myself and have a place where I can core focus on, and something I could $40. Like just being like what I'm for. Yeah. That was fun. That helped for sure.
So, any shout out to niggas though?
Oh yeah. Said Third Eye. Shout out to that. We're gonna go forever too. Like we got LA Rocket, Ifu Waga, Nunda, Q. Shout out to Frankie Rod, everyone involved in the Third Day Melts. I'm looking for a new place to host weekly or bi-weekly events. There's an issue with the venue, so I'm looking for a place for that. But yeah, shout out to really everyone along the way. There's so many people that were in core and influence who I work with, DJs, artists I know. Shouts out to you, everything you're doing. It's just, it's all levels over. For sure.
Could be damn.
Your album that you just drawing. All the people
With the album, what the people support you using, what are your other socials? People can support you.
Yeah, I probably the easiest way is BigSherm.net. It's got everything on there. I got the website too. It's got links on Spotify, so it's rap selection, DJ selection. The electronic presence under URS QKV. There's a link to that on BigSherm or URFTW.com for that. And yeah. So that'll be there. I'm on Instagram mostly and sharing flyers and stuff. But yeah, just always a feature out there. BullBrother.com or GiveAwayMusic.com or those second place. That's the best way to say it. I put it. Try to network and work with people and this and shit.
can people book you in the same message?
Yep. There's a booking section on Big Show down there at BigShow.net/booking. Put some contact them on my socials at Big Show with 3G, BRG2G, Sherm. And that's also at Julian.2 GPU there. So there's a pictures on the self booking. We just waiting out to the booking here, so talk by him. Sure, we'll do that. That's a good way to contact Instagram, the end right? Who's at their price? Yeah, sure.
How did it even go last night?
I was so much fan. Job Punyaki, Science Design, Editor in there, Brand, 10 Parker, everybody. Played Flint Drop Fest the first time. We got five or six stages. Stages, 6 stages. That was really cool. Right downtown Flint. We had a bunch of techno Detroit people in the building. We had all sorts of cool stuff. I played last the Science of Sound stage. People were vibing. I was playing them all Juke, that type stuff. I was in Juke house kind of vibe. But people were rocking with me. I was doing it like it worked out of something. You know what I mean? Every time it's kind of like you want to have anything for this, but it felt really good. Dude, Jordan, the whole event was cool. I hadn't been there, kind of just missed out, but it's been going for a long time. They had all sorts of cool stuff. I'm trying. want more of those, you know, those like in any city, especially one plant. Oh, huge lot is crazy. Honestly, it's so wild.
How many people was it did we like?
It was like 5 different like places. So there's like on some in this, a lot of them are in the street. There's on like the deli shop. There's one right downtown. It was like a 3 block, 4 block mount. Well, packed people right down the alleyway, purchases, summer weed and stuff. Yeah, those patterns on the race. Yeah, then with thousands of people, you know, tons of people. You know, I was in the back area, but there was a bunch of food trucks. There was a bunch of people out back that way. So it was a really cool event. Shout out to my too.
What's your top 5 juke, house, jit music songs?
No. There's a lot of classics. I mean, I really like the like Lay You Down, but I also like a lot of DJ Assault stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I found it too. Yeah. I don't know, really, I was classic. I really like that moments of honesty and love and most conflict. You know, which they can put to like infinity and back and stuff. So there's so many versions of that. Like I always rock with that song. All those like Who Run It 3-6 for like I just keep getting more and more of those
Classics.
Yeah, so that was kind of something about this today. So let me just really just do all the classics. I wouldn't normally just put the most obvious samples. Let me do that, but really do something different with it, chop it up. That's how that particular genre, like you can flip all the old stuff, but in a new way that really ain't been heard before, you know. It's real cool. Long.
Yeah, I love the guy dude. Cowgirl, yeah. It's so many that I don't really know by name, but when I hear it, I just instantly think it's the dance or let's think of the song.
Yeah. Some of those old classics, like we did a song called Flint, me and my friend, we did a remix, but if Disco Do Real, like, you need another branch, yeah. Like all the old people, like, oh yeah, the acid type stuff. Find that over the 507 break, the track on my album. I put as titties over that and just like it pops it to another way. So I need to get like the official mix out, like mashup of it out or whatever. But you know, it's fun playing the older sounds that people know, but you got to come at it in a not tired ass way too, where you're just was playing all the stuff that everyone calls it blending out there. So that's just one of his bros. It was new stuff people don't know, even rock old stuff people didn't create too as well.
That's what's up.
Are you one of those DJs that will play your music in the mix of other songs you found out again?
Yeah, I am. Like, since I was really producing this project, like I didn't really play my stuff too much, but when I was doing this project, I was testing out how they sounded a lot and really like spending more time actually learning my stuff. So now, like, I always drop some couple tracks from my project. When I was leading up to release it, I did a couple listening party kind of things. I got my events where I just played a set where I just mixed it all. And never done that. I was like, let me just, play all the tracks. It was kind of like let me hear everything one last time before I put it out. But, so I'm excited to someday do that. I need a lot more tracks to do that. But I play Tom tracks, they're an hour set. So not like too fast or anything. Like I know it was a bit, but anyway, so I just, I want to get another track. So I'm working on a new project. I think this game, the house. Okay. The road, always little tech and acid and stuff. Like, yeah, so I'm just trying, make more stuff because I haven't actually realized, like, okay, keep doing that for a couple more years. I'm going to have enough stuff where I could probably just free on myself. But yeah, then you see for once, or I'll drop.
Have you ever thought about putting visuals to the music on your album?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out now. I kind of had a plan for doing visuals for this project, but I need a little bit more refining. I have a little bit more time too. I'm gonna spend some more time on the next couple of weeks actually. But yeah, I want to do more visuals. Doing visuals for the electronic or instrumental is different than doing a rap video or more, knowing that video. So now I'm like, trying to figure out what I want the focus is of.
I think it's like abstract, where it's like it could be anything. Like the tracks are dope. I was just curious coming into this. Like, have you put visuals to it, and would you put visuals? Because the tracks are fire. Songs need the visuals too.
Yeah, especially nowadays, it's different. That was something I always like didn't do as much with, for whatever reason, financial or just time or whatever. But so it's definitely part of my plan to do for this one. I started recording some stuff. I have ideas for a couple of them, but especially with a lot of the more like known samples, I can flip some of the known visuals for those to, in part of throwing all these events on Thursdays. I ended up getting a lot of stuff to project visuals. Like, it's just like a cheaper stuff, but I've got like BB player run into like a circuit bending thing. I could put like the VHS and like change some of the colors and stuff. And so I've been using that for visuals for the show, but I'm basically going to be running those through into the computer. And so trying to find that other niche. And you say, yeah, it's just something to watch, something to go through. No, I was just going to start posting clips of the visualizer with that, because I want it to be like the main
focus
video, like, because I didn't want to put something out and be like, oh, like, then it's not the actual music.
But no, I like that now, because as you can see now, you're on YouTube and you see like DJs, they'll just record the set. They have a cram on the crowd.
Yeah.
They have a guy like in the crowd. They have one over him set.
Right.
Where like that's fire. Like that's how they used to do it back in the day with like Soul Train. Like they didn't have videos. You saw the DJ, you saw the artist,
right?
Saw the people. That's all you need.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely planning to do. I think it is important for our scene, like say people like High Tech or whatever doing. I say they're big budget videos. I don't know if they are now, but you get everyone involved, or in it, and you just get this amazing visual for a project. Something like that. Like what's the group that's so big too, and the Chicago stuff, the entire street footwork here or a video, and like it's important. It does take it to another level. It's the branding, especially nowadays, visual will definitely important. Being out there is important, and that gives it a like. You can give, what was it? Maybe the artist, but they just dropped in video. What was it? They were in a crew with Twista. They just dropped a video.
Do or die.
Do or die. Yeah, do or die. They just dropped that visual like 20 years later.
I mean, I love that. My favorite example of that is Juvenile 400 Breeds. He dropped the video for that. He blended he blended for old Cash Money stuff with them now, and it's a fire video.
If it breathes a new life, I did that with the track, but I made him a car 16 and on for 1 or 2 or something. So the video for it, Aaron was like real weird, but it's just totally breathe more into it. So yeah, it makes it song, and I think for people that are really music business. In a vision, so they can hit songs and stuff, do rock, it's just a good working out. They always talk, just get out past the song or give life to a song. And there's songs like a song wouldn't have been good, or no one would have liked this song, but watch to a video, and you turn made it. I don't. This love break, the song Briz. Yeah, it's a big hit. Sure.
Man, it was a pleasure having you, man. You a gem of a person. You taught me a lot of different things that I didn't know. You gave me perspective on like how you view things in your life. Like, what are some of your goals going forward? For the rest of this year, we'll just be out.
I want to throw some more shows, more events, but yeah, place for people to network. I would love my own, go in your venue someday. You know what I mean? But just trying to stay focused on the game, on working music. It's still. Making sure my shit's secure. It's crazy times right now. Raise all there. It's insane. So just staying on my toes, or just keeping growing, keeping an idea, visualizing kind of like a trajectory is having fun. Here's what I want to do over that spirit. I got a couple projects agreeing to push out some stuff I hadn't released, some goalies. So there's a lot of that I need to do. That I'm just trying to stay busy, keep doing, trying to stay involved, and then we'll figure out what there's a way to connect us all with dog or helping it to hurry up, and also you gotta get money and security, whatever it is to connect. So just slip and rock the truth for us on to be on the same page, because that's the opposite of what everything else is. So we're
work together. That's
I mean, that's a perfect example right here of just people, you know, in the right mind state, doing similar things, thinking the same, and just coming up with a genuine collab.
Yeah, absolutely. The small things that can act, butterfly effect, the small things can echo in tune with the inspiration and influence, you know, affects us for our times. It's sure that, you know, what someone said, that's the obvious. Sure. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, man.
No problem, man. You were a great guest, man. I would love to have you come back, you know, chop it up again, you know, talk about some topics and wouldn't collab you, sir. Absolutely appreciate you coming through. But it's been the visionary mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. Smoke Some Podcast. We out.